Collins with News Geelong. It's on again this Sunday, the annual Harley-Davidson owners' Christmas toy run from Geelong through to Queenscliff via Port Arlington. Who would have thought a Russian-born Swiss artist who studied architecture in Munich and moved to London in 1851 would be responsible for some of the best landscape paintings of colonial Australia? From the world of Geelong sport, we speak with two champions, one from the world of racing and the other from the game of ladies soccer. And from the weather world, we present the forthcoming 6-day forecast for Geelong and the Surf Coast. On November 7, 1876, a 3-year-old filly, Breezy's, won the second Melbourne Cup and went on to create a record that is never likely to be equalled, winning the VRC Derby, the Melbourne Cup and the VRC Oaks in the space of 6 days, all ridden by a 12-year-old featherweight jockey, Pt1. Today now sees the Breezy's Cup and Gold Cup race run at the beginning of December at the Geelong Racing Club.
We've got a fantastic function here today for the Breezy's members, and the Breezy's Gold Cups really stand up well, and we're looking forward to a really good event.
Adrian, for our viewers, the history of the Breezy's Club.
Well, the Breezy's Club been going 16 years. Johnny Craven and Billy Fitzgerald set it up, and it's my first year as chairman. And we've got about 100 members. We've raised a lot of money for the race club and a lot of local charities, so it's fantastic.
And that's one of the major functions, is raising money for local charities, and you have set to establish that in our great city of Geelong.
Look, Geelong's obviously a very community-minded place, through our football and through our sport, and the racing industry is no different. Yes, Graham.
You mentioned Billy Fitzgerald. He's a legend in his own right.
Billy's just turned 82 recently, and he's still secretary of the Breezy's Club, and he's been here ever since it started, so he's a great man.
And what keeps you coming back year after year?
I've been a member myself for about 7 or 8 years, and we have 6 or 7 dinners a year with, sportsmen and just a camaraderie, and it's a really good business network and a good little community show.
And you don't necessarily have to own a horse, it's just being interested in the thoroughbred world of racing.
Well, it's sort of focused on thoroughbred racing and sport. We've had Glenn Archer speak this year, and we've had Andrew Mackey, so we've tied that in with a few of the racing fraternity. The
comprehensive survey of works by the Russian-born Swiss artist Nicolas Chevalier, produced during his 14 years in Australia from 1855 to 1869, is on exhibition at the Geelong Gallery. Ian Nichols reports.
We're at the Geelong Art Gallery for their summer exhibition, their final exhibition for this year, an Australian Odyssey featuring the works of colonial master Nicolas Chevalier. He was here from 1860 for about 14 years and really created some incredible paintings. We're talking with the gallery director, Jeffrey Edwards.
And he was really probably the most widely popular artist of the 1860s and early 70s. He came to Australia, unlike many others at the time, not for the gold rush, not for the gold fields, but he was sent by his family, who had an investment in a small business in Victoria, and he came out to check on that. But then, whilst he was here, his talent as a cartoonist, as a draftsman and as a painter was noticed by the very influential magazine, the Melbourne Punch, and they engaged him as a cartoonist and an illustrator. Good work, so he stayed.
Well, they're obviously very versatile, and I mean his landscapes really do capture the colonial Victoria.
Oh, and indeed, as he travelled, Ian, with a number of the early explorers and early scientists, he also went on a number of missions with his contemporary, and perhaps better known to a wider audience, Eugene von Gerard, because he was going on all these missions and journeys throughout Victoria, hence the Odyssey part of the Nicolas Chevalier Australian Odyssey title. He really documented this state in particular, Victoria, throughout the Western District and throughout Gippsland, and then south past Geelong to the Otways. He really documented what at the time were truly remote parts of the state. He documented them very accurately, and they were also, as with the painting behind me at the moment, very grand, spectacular scenes.
Yes, the Otways we have there, and well, it's a huge painting in real terms, isn't it?
It was one of the most ambitious paintings executed in Victoria at the time. This is the Parker River Falls near Cape Otway, about 6 kilometres in today's measurements from Cape Otway, and they were really European in manner and grandeur, but very much Victorian landscapes and spectacular scenic destinations.
At the Australian Odyssey exhibition, Geelong Gallery, this is Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. The National Disability Insurance Scheme has received great support for the campaign Every Australian Counts. And on International Day of People with Disability, there was a free community event at the Fort at Stead Park in Corio. Meryl Friend has more.
We're here at the Fort on Saturday the 3rd of December was United Nations International Day for People with a Disability. A really terrific day. We had aerial shots of people lined up in the NDIS symbol and we were able to speak with people involved. We're joined with Jackie Pearce, the NDIS coordinator for Kooringal. Now I suppose the first question, NDIS stands for?
National Disability Insurance Scheme, and it's the way of the future in terms of better funding and supports for people with disabilities and their families in Australia.
Now, you've been plugging away at this campaign for quite a while. How's it progressing?
Fantastically well at the moment. So where we're up to really is that the Labor government has given it a green light. We have Liberal support as well. What we're doing now is just keeping the momentum of the campaign up till we actually see the legislation in place at a federal level.
And so NDIS is hoping to achieve what exactly?
Really equality for people with disabilities and their families in Australia. At the moment, predominantly they live life as second-class citizens, so they don't have access to the same sorts of services and supports that we just take for granted. So it really is about a human rights issue and achieving equality.
And also, of course, it's United Nations International Day of People with a Disability. Perfect day for this?
Yes, perfect day. And the aim is to get 100,000 supporters online as soon as possible. So we're sitting around the 95,000 mark at the moment. So today's a significant day, being that United Nations Day.
So if people want to get on board and help support you, where do they go?
Yes, www.everyaustraliancounts.com.au.
We're celebrating International Day of People with Disabilities. It's a fantastic day. Sun's out. We've got bands playing. Fabulous people are here. We've got lots of advocates here in the Geelong community, which is fantastic, as Tasha here next to me. So it's an absolute pleasure to actually be emceeing here today.
And so this morning you also were able to get a lot of people together in their red T-shirts to have the NDIS symbol there from an aerial shot for a helicopter.
We did. It took a bit, well, actually, I was going to say it took a bit of coordinating, but you know what? It actually didn't take any coordinating. People just got in there, lined up on the NDIS. We waited for the helicopter, so helicopter driver, if you're watching, people were watching the clock, but no, it was fantastic. We waved our arms, we cheered as the helicopter went over, so it's going to be a fantastic aerial shot.
All right. Thanks for your time, and are you enjoying the day?
Yep.
From the Fort, Meryl Friend, News Geelong.
This is News Geelong as we go to a break and return with more news after this.